And call the order. Got me? Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Russell County Board of Supervisors, the 2023-24 budget workshop. I'd like to first start off with a roll call and a call to order. Tim Lovelace. Carl Ray.
Here.
David Eaton.
Here.
Steve Breeding.
Here.
Rebecca Dye.
Here.
Horace Christian.
Present.
And Luann Wallace.
Here.
Tim should be here soon. So, as we had during our last budget meetings, and since then, between the Commissioner of Revenue, of course, the County Treasurer, myself, and Mr. Breeding, we went through some of the big discussion items that were facing us during the 23-24 budget cycle. Of course, everyone knows that due to the rate of inflation and, of course, the board is have these for considerations. We also looked at, a number of topics, especially some of the big revenue line items that generates revenue for the county. So one of the topics was, of course, the casino money, which the board had appropriated out based off the terms and conditions. Y'all had appropriated out to transportation, education, or the court system, so in public safety. So what the board had decided to do is look at giving to the fire and rescue, which y'all did increase the 50% on the fire and rescue. You also looked at completely paying for the race program, and the rest was dedicated by the code to the court systems to take care of these issues and additional court cases that will come up due to the casino. So that was approximately $600,000. Of course, the second topic that we were looking at is the personal property tax. We took a look at it, ran the numbers on it of all what we had seen from the books we did a analysis of the years 20, 21, 22, and 23, didn't we, Steve? So we sat and looked and did a 3-year analysis between what the values of the cars had become and what were on the books. And what is everyone has seen that in the private sector, these cars are either coming in at or below or a small percentile above what the market price is. And now this is based off the state analysis, the state evaluations of the NADA that does over 1 million evaluation and assessments on a monthly basis. So that's what sets our books. The NADA book from the state sets our books. We actually, when we evaluate it, it is not on a model or a year. It is by VIN number. So we have 25,683 cars that we go through and look at. And it's done VIN number by VIN number. It's not based off the year, the model, or the make. It is by VIN number. So when we did that and looked at them, again, to emphasize, it was either at the current market value, it was at a little bit below, or a little bit above. But was it enough to be able to make a large variance and adjust the tax base? No. And also speaking to the other counties, they have come to the same conclusion in their assessment. We have talked to other counties of Buchanan and the rest, but they have came to the same assessment. The third item that we had to consider on the budget was trash, believe it or not, disposal. The Waste Management Authority had a meeting Friday night. We attended, Carl attended, Tim attended, and of course we're working through that. Now based off, we can't discuss these numbers because they're still preliminary, we are comfortable with going ahead and proceeding within the range of what we've got to be able to proceed with setting the tax rate and tax budget. So with that being said, if we can work within these components of the personal property, the waste management, and the casino money, with what we got, live within our means, at my request, at the board's request and approval, I would like to go ahead and ask for us to go ahead and set the 23-24 tax rates at the current tax rates to be able to live within our means with what we have and what we've got. So with that being said, I'll take any questions or any concerns with what we have seen over the last 6 weeks. Questions?
I don't have any. Does any of the board members have any questions or concerns for the public? Since we're here trying to do things in the public.
When I met with Lonzo and the treasurer and the commissioner, Lonzo says 99.2% of all the vehicles fall into that category where they're at or near or below the 21 assessment, and only 0.8% were above that in that category. Well, that equates to about 200 vehicles out of 26,000. Mm-hmm. So, and we don't know how many of those are business. We didn't make adjustments on business anyway. So it's really kind of and those vehicles, as I understand, were the high-end vehicles, 350s, 450s, and the Escalades, and whatever. Yes, they're holding their value much better. So I don't think there's anything we can do overall to make any kind of adjustment.
Out of the 25,683 cars, we had evaluated 1,695 through all year 20, 21, and 22. We went back beyond the 21 base that we had utilized last year to set the tax rate to give this $1.1 discount refund back to the citizens of Russell County. So we even went back to see what kind of variance it was. So when we did an analysis, we had year 20, 21, and 22 based off the 23 evaluations from the NDADA, and we looked at each and every one, different models, different makes, 1,695 of them that were sitting in there. But like Mr. Breeding had emphasized or stated, that it's these specialized vehicles, these and some SUVs, and some of them would drop. I mean, even Toyotas. We were very surprised, even the type of cars, because usually the Toyota brand usually either maintains its value or during this time, but some of the makes, some of the models were up, some were down. The 450s, 350s, of course, the Escalades, the big vehicles. But overall, we feel comfortable, as I can't speak for the Treasury Commissioner. They were both in the room. We feel comfortable to be able to go ahead and set the current tax rate right now at the real estate, the personal property, the machine and tool that will be on the agenda for tonight. That will be on the agenda for approval tonight, to go ahead and advertise and set the tax rate at the same as it was last year.
In discussing these rates, do they include or consider the mileage or the condition of that particular vehicle?
And you'll be surprised what all is in it. When you pull up the VIN number, it has every accommodation that's within the vehicle, every add-on that's on it, every model. It actually, when you title it, it had the existing mileage on it too, didn't it, Steve? Yes, sure does. Any more questions?
What kind of buffer do you have built in on? What kind of buffer do you have built in on the waste? You allowed for some escalation, but
Yes.
we just don't know how much yet, right?
Well, I can say this, and this is the range, and I'm not giving away, any trade secrets here, as Carl knows. One of the things that we built into the waste management and the landfill, we were estimating $200,000 to $250,000 increase. Let me explain this is what we found out Friday. Now we're into the 180 range. We had 100,000 built into the base budget of the waste management to be able to handle this. But board, what we're seeing in the contracts that we got over a 5-year period, this will escalate. So I'm saying for FY 23, 24, we have in the bank to be able to include what we've got and what we collect at the transfer station to be able to meet it. Now, I can depend upon the final numbers that come in May. The 24, 25 is going to be very, very difficult. So, and these guys will agree what we have seen so far. So I hate to say that the whole budget comes down to trash, but it is the bare basic. And one of the things that the people have to understand is when we sit in those rooms and we have 3 counties in us, looking at that plus the region, Russell County operates, we're $21 a ton. You can't touch that. I mean, you can't touch it. No one can touch it. I mean, the tipping fee, the environmental fee, the CPI indexes, it's the rate of inflation is what we're paying for, not what county the Russell County is operating on. This is an increase by the contractors at the landfills that the Waste Management Authority does their own, not our internal operations, not our disposal sites, not what compactors we have, not what we do on a daily basis at each one of these sites. This is the Cumberland Plateau Waste Management Authority contract. So between that and what we're hoping, again, I'll go back to the casino topic. We're hoping they are more profitable. I hate to say that's from gambling, but because I don't believe in it, but it is improving. It is improving. But again, you only got 3 things that you can dedicate this to. Transportation. Our coal severance is doing okay. So VDOT's got its own set of money. But between public safety and education, that's 2 very, very important topics to the Board of Supervisors. Yes. So And that way we can be able to dedicate that additional funds as they come in, and we'll be able to have a historical trend once it gets in place. They are building it on what's existing, but when these two major hotel towers go up and a stage that accommodates 50,000 people, now they're expecting to go from a $200 million operation to a $400 million operation. So therefore, when their revenue goes up, our revenue goes up. So, and that's a good thing. It helped you not raise taxes. So, again, we made it through it without raising taxes on any front. Now, is this have room for flexibility? Of course, our sales tax could come in higher. Of course, other fees could come in higher. And we work on that because we know that that's things that we give extra on top of what we can do and you can do. Does that make sense? Like at the ball fields, at the community centers, give back on the events. And this, we will continue working with those ones to be able to do, to maximize what fees that we can generate. So, any questions? Good? Everybody good? So tonight on the agenda will be to advertise the 23-24 tax rates at the rates. Now, we will be releasing them, which I've got them in the pipeline just to be released this afternoon into the papers and on the websites and Facebook. So all those rates will be released as of this afternoon. Other than that, on the agenda, that's the big thing. But that's a big accomplishment because talking to the other counties about trash and disposal and the rest and personal property and all this, some of them are having a very, very difficult time. But like I said during the previous meeting, you got 41 employees that's on the full time. I mean, they're looking. I said not say talk to other counties, and they got people that are sitting full time on a park. I'm going, my gosh, we don't have that luxury on parks, trash sites, full time benefits. Ours is part time, barely do. They're halfly on Social Security, the rest, but they do operate the sites, and you can't operate it any cheaper. $21 a ton. So, with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and proceed on to the 5 o'clock closed meeting that has to deal with economic development. That's another thing. Jobs, y'all working on it. So hopefully, with these jobs in placement, extra income, casino, we may not be in this position again next week. All depends. So again, Ford, thank you. Thank you for consideration. Ms. Breeden, thank you for helping us during this time. Get this straight through the Commissioner of Revenue and the Treasurer, because we all have our different point of views, and we all are very concerned, and we make sure that the county is operated within its means. That's it. So again, the last thing I want to say before you pass the tax rates tonight, it includes the 7% for county employee pay raise. Yes. And that includes, yes. It sets the tempo.
That brings us since 8 years.
30% pay increase, 30% in 2 bonuses in 8 years. That's pretty good. Lord has blessed us. So with that being said, I'd like to end my presentation and wait for the 5 o'clock closed session concerning the Moss 3 project. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Martha.